Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Welcome to the present moment, a glorious opportunity to study yoga philosophy and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Let's begin by dedicating this moment and sequence of golden present moments in service to the highest good of all life, all creation, and all of its expressions. Love and abundance and peace and abundance to all. Chant one Om together. Om. Great. So we've almost completed our first look at the 5 categories of thoughts, all of which can be considered either painful or painless. 5 categories of thoughts. What are the 5? First one, right knowledge, wrong knowledge, verbal delusion, or what you might call imagination, or even futuristic thinking, if you want to make that leap, and then memory and sleep. Now, of course, Patanjali does list sleep before memory. Truthfully, I haven't given much thought to the order by which he categorized them, but either way, we addressed memory previously. So for our final addressing of the 5 vrittis, we have sleep. So sleep, one of the sort of 5 thought waves of the mind. So if you ever stop to assess a thought, you'll be aware that it's either a thought about a truthful thing happening in reality, or it's a type of wrong knowledge, misconception, thinking a rope is a snake, or whatever you get into with lying and untruths and that whole mess. Hopefully not too much. And then verbal delusion, poetic language, futuristic thinking, imagination. The other one, thoughts of the future. It's really thoughts of the imagination because there's no guarantee that it is an accurate thought of the future. So you can't say it's really a thought of the future because the future is anyone's game. All right, and then memory, of course, any thought of the past, and now sleep. So with sleep, what is there to say about the thought wave of sleep? I guess the main point is that sleep is not necessarily an enlightened state of consciousness and awareness, although sleep is really quite a feat, I think, because if you think about it, what do you have to do in order to fall asleep, especially into a state of deep sleep? You know, your consciousness, where does the consciousness go? It's hardly even there, if at all. And you have to really have some degree of faith and trust in creation, in the universe, in your own sense of safety and security, which involves trusting the whole creation, right? Because your safety and security is really just a consequence of how reality is relating back to you. So, I'm only safe because my environment is safe. If there's dangerous people around me, then I'm not really safe. Or, I could be a hazard to myself, which I probably am. You probably think I am here sitting in this car just ranting and raving and having a good time. Hazard to myself. Is that a famous song? That's a good song. If it's not already, it will be a great song. I think it's a song. Anyway, so sleep. We can all give ourselves a pat on the back for being able to sleep because it's a big surrender. And some people I know talk about not liking sleep. And actually, one person who I recently heard talks about how he doesn't sleep a lot and how he doesn't really like to sleep was the president currently, Donald Trump. And you think about why would someone not want to sleep? Well, so if you think of yoga, this state here, that's the yogic state when the individual self is yoked, connected with united with the universal self. Otherwise, the individual self is associated with the ego, the mind, and the world. So if sleep, I think sleep is kind of like a preview of coming attractions of what that yoking is like in the present state. In fact, some spiritual teachers even talk about how, you know, as you're in a wakeful state, be in some sense of awareness that you're actually in deep sleep. In a way, you could say dead to the world, um, but just like allowing the dreaminess of the world to come forth, and more in that sense, I think. But point being here, if the individual self is not yoked with the universal self and is really tied to the ego, mind, and world, it's not going to want to sleep at all because it's obsessed over these things. It's obsessed over how am I going to survive? What's in it for me? How can I gain more? And then it's obsessed over the world. How can I get more material possessions, provide more for my family? This, that, the other. Has tons of concerns, maybe lots of fears and anxieties, worries about the future, all of that. And if you have that, right, if you ever had a sleepless night, when I think about the last time I had a hard time sleeping, I think it was probably in the midst of a challenging relationship issue. And it just keeps you up at night because you're on edge, and it rattles your sense of safety and security and your well-being and your status and everything else in the world, your relationships. So it's hard to sleep after you get in an argument with someone, right? Because it can even be scary. Like, oh no, now I maybe have this enemy or something and I'm on edge. So to be able to sleep is a great accomplishment, and it demonstrates faith in creation, and it's a beautiful thing. So, don't discount your ability to enter into deep sleep. And recently I heard a Swami talk about how he likes to approach his sleep as a miniature death every night. You close your eyes, no guarantee that you wake back up in the morning. It's not a guarantee. And so you can let it all go then. And I also like to do this, just kind of say like, all right, I surrender. If I don't wake up, it's fine. I accept it. I dedicate this life, all these energies to all creation. They may be of service, love, and peace. I trust thy will completely, and you let it go. And then by God's grace, you wake up the next morning and you have a great opportunity to serve. And actually, a fun thing about sleep, I'll tell you, because, if sleep is at all like the yogic state, because you're letting go of the association with the ego, mind, and the world, at least for the time being, if you think about it, you can play this game, treat sleep as though you did just really enter super deep meditation. And so, at least in the tradition I'm a part of, we say some prayers at the start of a meditation, and we say some prayers at the end of a meditation, just like we do in these videos here. Kind of chant something at the start, chant something at the end, bookend it. Everything else in the middle, it's all gravy from there, right? But the start and the finish, that's really the essence of all of this. So you can bookend your sleep too. And people do this anyway, but perhaps not. This is a subtle shift in perspective. And it's a joke kind of for the ego to think of itself as some super accomplished meditator. So I've been having fun with it, at least. But so you say the prayers at night as if you can say your own, nighttime prayers, people do, or you can also say them as if they're the same prayers that you say when you're entering before, if you have regular prayers you say before you start meditating. And then when you wake up, you say the same prayers that you would say at the end of your meditation. So, it's promoting the idea that in some sense you were deep in meditation, and that whole practice was dedicated. Just like when you meditate, you're dedicating that whole experience to the benefit of all, to the welfare of all. Gandhi says, joy in life comes from living for the welfare of all. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful way to feel joy. Dedicating your life to the all. All right, so that's what we have to say on sleep. Let's close with a chant. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May the entire creation be filled with peace, joy, love, and light. Hallelujah. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. God bless. Om.